Kevin asks, so that we can get as many questions answered as possible. Again, I want us to be in a timely fashion here. We are streaming it on the Facebook or Instagram? Instagram. And then we have Mr. Michael Steele, who is a co-chair ambassador for the chamber, who is also streaming it probably on
Instagram or Facebook
of Twisted
Alternative Twist Radio.
Alternative Twist Radio is going to be streaming it as well. So it's going to be streaming in multiple places, and then tomorrow we'll share in groups to make sure we get as many residents informed as possible. Do you have any questions for me? Kevin, when you're ready. I'll try not to be chatty or nervous. I'm just asking questions and you're just answering it. This is my first time like this.
Cindy, one question. The introduction, you're saying 90 seconds for introduction.
90 seconds for introduction, 90 seconds for questions. You guys can feel free to move the microphones in front of you if you like. You feel like you can hear like a mountain. I don't know if y'all can inside, so I think you want to set up test. Do I have any questions from the audience before we begin? Questions for me, not anybody else, for me. Yes, sir.
Just from my experience, I emphasize how important it is to get the microphones to come out.
Okay. So that's actually a good tip. So when you're speaking, make sure you can hear yourself out here. Hold it as close to your mouth as possible. I think for that, it's pretty, you can just, might get away with it on the table and then move that down. But because if you have mics, I think it'll be, Kevin, are you ready?
Let's go.
First of all, good evening, everyone. Hello.
Good evening.
My name is Kevin Saunders, as Cindy mentioned, and it's a pleasure to welcome you all here to tonight's City Council Candidate Forum. We are thrilled to have such an engaged and attentive audience here. Our goal tonight is to dive into the crucial issues facing our city and hear directly from the candidates who wish to lead us forward. This is your chance to gather valuable insights and ask the questions that matter most to you.
That means we are going to ask the questions that we've collected from you and that we've gathered from breaking it down into sections. I'm Cindy Lemke, Executive Director for the Hemet San Jacinto Valley Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, Kevin, for doing this with me. This forum is all about empowering you with information that you need to make a well-informed decision. Also, if you're not a registered voter, there are applications in the back that you can fill out and leave with Dale, and he will turn them in for you. Your voice is valuable and needs to be heard, so please make sure that you're a registered voter, and if you know any people in your circle that are not, help them register. If you have moved, you need to re-register. That's a great tip also. Thank you so much. We will rotate questions to each candidate starting down the line so everyone gets a first answer opportunity. Please make the most of your 90 seconds to answer as we have a lot of ground to cover. But first we'll start with introductions. But let me get my phone for the 90-second thing. Yeah.
She said she
Oh, 90 seconds, please. Ready? Are you ready? At 90 seconds? Carol, it's your turn.
Hi, my name is Carol Kendrick. I have been a resident of Hemet since 1999. I have worked for local government for approximately 28 years. Did 8 years with the County of Riverside in the planning department. And then I came to the City of Hemet and worked as a planner for 13 years. And I've been in the City of Beaumont for a little over 5 years, and I managed the Community Development Department, so I'm very familiar with government organizations and how they run. When I left the City of Hemet, I was appointed to the chairperson of the Hemet Infrastructure Commission. I relinquished that role when I was appointed to City Council on Director Keith last year, and I have spent most of my life dedicating myself to civil service, and the majority of that has been to the City of Hemet. I love this city. I've raised my daughter here. My husband and I have, my husband's a much longer term resident of the City of Hemet, and I feel like the work that I've done on the city council since last June has made an impact, and again, I'm just trying to make good choices for our residents.
Hello, everyone. My name is Deborah Jackson. I've been living here since 2020, but I started a business here in 2015, a church and salon suites out here in Hemet. I've worked for the federal government, civil service for about 23 years, VA hospital for about 12. I worked with the Naval Hospital, VA program support specialist. I worked in the legal department as a legal coordinator for the psychiatric unit. I also worked for the Army as a resource manager. I maintained a $2 million budget for them, a $600,000 budget for the VA. Currently, I have a new career. I'm with the Unified Hemet School District. As an IBIA, I'm working in the mental health and special ed department. So I'm looking forward to working with our community.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to thank you for being here tonight.
Speak up.
Can you hear me?
Hear you.
Closer. Okay, now can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for being here tonight. I just want to say it is truly an honor to be here before you tonight. My name is Krista Mason. I am currently a planner with Riverside County. All of my education has been in planning. I went to SDSU and I have a master's degree in city planning. I have spent 20 years of my career as boots on the ground in LA County, actually walking communities and enhancing and empowering communities for their growth and their healthy communities. I'm committed to ensuring that every decision is made with transparency and accountability. And tonight, through this conversation, I hope that you will hear my vision for the City of Hemet. I've been here for about 2.5 years now, and I plan to set roots here with my daughter and plan a future for us, and to provide stability and growth for the area. I'm here to help unlock Hemet's full potential and to work with you as the community to make us thrive and to bring economic development and to hear your vision and your values as a candidate here on City Council. Okay.
But this one gets, I know it's gonna be.
Yeah.
So that one gets
That
passed this way.
Okay.
You guys can pass the mic holding that thing, so everybody can hear you.
I hope to gain your support and I'm so used to this. I hope to gain your support and earn your vote tonight as you hear my vision for the City of Hemet. Thank you. Was that better? Okay, thank you. Got off to a little rocky start, but I think we can make it through.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. My name is Joe Males. I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran. I'm also a former commander of the American Legion Post 53 for 4.5 years, and also an Elks member. I've been in this city since 2005. Actually, I came originally in 92 and stayed for 2 years and never thought I'd come back, but here I am. I fell in love with the city. It's done a lot for me. I'm not a politician. The only reason I got into politics is my son was murdered here in Hemet in 2016, right after I had a liver transplant in 2015. And his case went cold for 5 years, and one of the former council members, Carly Meyer, told me to get involved into the council and I can get it activated, his case activated. So I listened to her. I got in council in 2020, And within a month and a half, the killer was in jail. They opened it, and thanks to also Mr. McPherson here, he helped the police in guiding them to the killer. So it was a hard journey for me, to be honest with you, because I've never been in politics. I never studied it, but I felt since I was here that I had to do my part for the city. And so far, I'm happy with the results. And I wasn't going to run again because my main purpose was to get my son's case settled, and that happened. So I was happy just to.
That's 90 minutes.
And
Thank
I'm
you.
gone.
Seconds.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Norm Kairos. I moved to Hemet back in 1981 from the Coachella Valley. I grew up walking the streets, riding bikes on the streets, and driving these streets. Graduated from Hemet High School in 1986. My daughter was born in 1987 here at Hemet Hospital. Currently, I am an acting realtor going on 33 plus years here in the Valley. When you get into real estate and you drive people around the neighborhoods, you really get to know the neighborhoods and the streets really well. And it's really helped me open my eyes to this valley. You also make a lot of friends when you're helping them get into their first home, or you're selling their home and helping them retire. Moving on, I got my mortgage license about approximately 3 years ago, and with all of these requires a lot of continuing education, background checks, and whatnot. Got involved in serving about 25 years ago. I was the president of the local association of realtors, and that same year is when ROC's committee was formed. And then I was appointed on that committee. There was, I believe, 14 of us. And anyway, we were advising the council at that time. So that started my...
Thank you, Norm.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Tom Lodge, and I'm very happy that you're here. I'm running for City Council, District 3. I moved here in 1988, and this city was just quaint, quiet. Things have changed over the years. In my career as facilities maintenance engineer, I have to deal with problems on a daily basis, usually an hourly basis. Why is the building sinking, and tractors go down, and everything that happens during the day. So I have to have quick, honest answers from people. I have to search out those answers, search out the right people, because we have to have some honesty, we have to have straight talk, and we have to have a clear vision. This city is gorgeous. It's just still such a great vibe in this city, and I don't want to see that lost. I think with business opportunities coming our way, we can just clean up the city, and everything will be fine if we hold to the vision. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. Malcolm Lilienthal. Happy for you guys to be here. I am married. I have 4 children. I also am running for District 3. I've been in here since 2001, and what I do for my day job is I'm a mental health therapist, and I work with individuals, couples, children, DPSS, CPS, and that's what I do on the daily. I felt a calling from the Spirit of God to run for City Council. That's why I did it in 2020, and feel the calling to still stay. I don't have a sense that this is the end, so that's why I'm running again. So I'm just following the Spirit of God. I see the city, just like Tom said, lots of potential here. I just want to see things be better for people. I just want to see people be able to live and thrive here, and I'm not just talking about surviving, but actually thriving, opportunities, entertainment for people. And I want to be part of the solution and not the problem.
Thank you. You sort of introduced candidates a little more than yourself, but the next question is, Why are you running for city council? And Deborah, we'll start with you.
Well, just like Malcolm say, I am a believer in Christ, and in order to be a believer, you would do things without pay, regardless. It will come from the heart. I'm running because I believe that we all have a voice. Being a business owner here, I've ran across some issues that I feel that needs to be addressed. I am a single mother. I have a disabled daughter. I know what it's like to go through domestic violence. I know what it's like to almost be homeless. Some of us out here are one paycheck from being homeless. You may not admit it, but that is my reason we have a voice, and I want to be hands-on. Not just speaking words, but action together. Thank you.
Same question? Same question. Okay. So I'm running for city council. It sounds like we're very like-minded individuals up here. I felt a connection to the city. I was led here. I came here to set roots with my daughter, and I saw that there were issues every day on my drive home. And being boots on the ground and actually walking neighborhoods, I could see what the issues were. I could point them out and say, there's a solution for that. And why aren't we connecting those solutions? Where are our city members who can connect us with the services that we needed? And so I said, I have those tools. I have that experience. And I'd like to put that to use here in the city of Hemet, the city that I was led to, the city that I felt was beautiful and had great potential. And I wanted surrounding cities to understand and to see what I see. I wanted the residents to feel safe. I want residents to feel like they can come here and set roots, just like I have decided to do. And so what I decided was run for city council. Use the experience that you have. Use the tools and the connections that you have to make this city be the beautiful city that it is, and to make those connections. And so that's why I decided to run for city council. I felt as though the 20 years that I spent in planning.
Well, you know why I'm running, why I ran for city council, and I was just going to do 4 years. And I'm a godly man. I have my pastors here, and we have every once a month we have the pastors meet at the city and talk about what's going on in the city with nonprofits. I thought the same thing. I'm going to come in here, I'm going to fix everything. I'm a Marine, I can do it. And it doesn't work that way. You have 4 other council members that if they don't vote the way you vote, then you're not going to get anything done. You need a 3-majority vote. And a lot of things that you think you can get done can't get done. And so I've worked hard in this city. I realized that our demographics are changing. We have younger families coming in. Houses are being built. We have anywhere from 5,000 to 6,000 houses that are going to be built within the next 5 years. We need things for youth, and that's why we opened the skate park. We have Airtopia now for kids to keep them off the street and give them something that they can do and be active in our city. So the council, we have approved a lot of things for the youth. We just had Simpson Park work on the ADA situations. We have a church in there now. It's for the seniors. We're going to have youth in there, and we figured, well, we'll have the seniors on the bottom floor, the youth on the second floor, and the youth can work with the seniors and help them in their needs and whatever they have. Because a lot of people are lonely when they get older, and with youth around, it livens them up. It keeps them going. So, we're doing a lot of things right now, and I think
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. I'm running because I love Hemet. I grew up here at Hemet, work in Hemet. I'm going to retire here, live the rest of my life out here at Hemet. Got grandkids that go to school here. My wife's a teacher. We don't plan on going anywhere. I've seen that Hemet from very small population grow. With growth, you have growing pains. You have problems associated with those growing pains. And I believe that I feel I could be the solution to the problems that Hemet has here. One big accomplishment that I had recently was the Remontable pageant. I was the president during the 100th season, and we had some issues coming out of COVID, and it was a collaboration with the community. I feel the community came back together to save the Remontable for the 100th season, and that's something that I could bring to the City of Hemet. Problem solving, getting the community together, collaborating, finding out what the problems are, and being a solution. And anyway, again, I love Hemet, and it's just a natural progression for me to continue to serve, something that my pastor at John Scott at Community Christian Church tells us to do. Go out there and serve into your community. It's just a natural thing for me. Thank you.
When I moved here, this once again was just beautiful. But all the young families that are moving in here, giving us more energy into this city itself. We cannot forget about the seniors. We have untapped resources in their knowledge and their experience. If we can bring everybody together into this city with all the accomplishments that have been started and all the things, the potential things we can do, the theater downtown, the park, everything that's coming together, we need to continue this growth, but it has to be in a way that is not blindly spending money and just throwing money at things that aren't going to work in the long run. We have to look towards the future. For these children that are coming into our town, we have to plan for them. We have to plan for them to stay. We want them to have jobs, good, secure jobs. Keep the money in town. We don't need to be sending them to work in other cities just to spend money there. We need to keep our youth engaged. We need to keep them off of the streets, and we have to educate them.
Why I ran for city council, I told you guys earlier, was I felt I was led by the Spirit of God to go for this position. And so what I started to do was look into, at least try to find as much as I could about the background of Hemet. And as a therapist, what I do with people who come into my facility is I create a treatment plan for them. And so I'm thinking, you know, does Hemet have a treatment plan, so to speak? And so I'm going on the website and different things like that, and I can't find a mission, vision statement, I can't find goals. The police department had a mission and vision statement, and a couple other departments did too, but I saw that the whole city did not necessarily have a direction. So I thought, you know, maybe I get on city council, do my best to get the rest of the council to see if we can focus on collaborating and setting some goals and some strategicness for the vision of the city, for the future of the city. And then what came out of that is we had several meetings where we invited the community out, echoing Tom about collaboration. And then we came up with this whole vision, and ever since then we've just been running. So we've just been running and creating that infrastructure so that the people going forward, even future council members, could also build upon that as well.
As I mentioned previously, I spent about 18 years of my life working for Hemet or serving as on the infrastructure or the city council. The reason I applied for city council last year was I had several people approach me. I had many residents and council members in our community encouraging me. And I thought, well, if all these people believe that I can do a good job, I put my application in. I realized it was a huge commitment. I spend my entire Saturdays reviewing the agenda packet. I put in the work. I have done ride-alongs with almost every department, trying to understand the organization, seeing the issues out on the ground. My time on council, I've helped work with the employee groups to get their salaries up to a median income. Prior to that, I did work with my fellow neighbors in making modifications to residents that were coming into our neighborhood that were not consistent. So we were successful in having some changes to developments. On city council, I have worked on getting stop signs in subdivisions that didn't have stop signs. Again, holding our people accountable and trying to do the right thing and listening to people. If you call me, I've returned your call.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you so much. This next question revolves around economic development, and if you guys have had a chance to meet our very own Ben Sandoval, who's doing an amazing job. If you haven't met him, then please do so. Crystal, we'll start with you with this question. It is, what specific plans do you have to assist the city to attract new businesses and industries to Hemet to stimulate economic growth and job creation?
So I'm not sure if everyone has seen our current economic strategy. It has some lofty goals in it. Can you hear me? Okay, it has lofty goals in it. We need to start off with baby steps, with small steps. And small steps lead to big goals. They achieve big goals. So what we need to do is we need to provide small business loans. That way the city can recuperate the money that they put out for those businesses. We need to also add a public information officer. So then that way our residents can know what is happening in our community. And they can be aware that we have what services and what loans we have available. When we talk about voting, we have to have a council that is like-minded to provide these services, to provide these loans to our business, our small businesses. We want to invest here. We want to keep our businesses here. We want to keep the residents here investing in our community. We don't want them to go out to our surrounding cities. We don't want them to go to Menifee. We want them to stay here. We don't want them to go to Temecula. We want them to come here. We want them to be able to have the services that they would like, the businesses that they would like here. We need to go out and listen to the community and ask them what their needs are. And what would you like to see here? And how do we attract those businesses here? We can also provide grant programs.
Okay. When it comes to business, I was a businessman for 22 years, and I love bringing business to the city. The warehouses were questionable, but we got a lot of pushback on that. But I have people that come to my office, on a monthly basis, weekly basis, and my door's open all the time. They call me, they come to the office, and they want work. And we need to keep jobs in our city in order for our people, community to spend money in our city. Right now, we have lights going, the brake lights going out of the city in the mornings and the headlights coming back in. So we thought of warehouses. Okay, warehouses want to come in, let's let them in. So we brought them in, and right now we have 6 warehouses that are coming in that are going to provide 1,600 jobs. Now, not all jobs will be for our citizens, but a good portion of them will be, yes, they will. And right now we're working on something else that's coming, and that's why we hired the economic development manager, because he's a good guy. He knows how to drum up business. He goes out, he cold calls companies to try to get them into our city. We have a lot to offer in this city. We have a museum, we have a lake. We have the Ramona Bowl that's over 101 years old. Our chamber helps bring in businesses, and we try to keep them here, and we try to work with them. But to stimulate business, we have to allow certain businesses to come into this city, and if we don't, then we're going to be a closed city.
Thank you, Mayor.
Oh, I'm
Thank
sorry.
you so much. We're going to move to Norm. Thank you.
Part of my career helping families buy homes is also helping developers, business people by building homes here. So I know how to talk to developers and people that want to bring businesses and commercial buildings and rehab projects here. But I like what Jackie Peterson said the other night about respect and pride in Hemet. I think first we've got to bring back driving down this valley. We've got to clean up our town and bring some respect and pride for the business people to want to do business in here. I met with a gentleman just the other day. He's going on nearly 4 years trying to get his business or his development going here. He's struggling with getting things done, and I believe our staff does a great job in the city, but I don't know the details of why he's having problems. He could be causing his own problems, or but this is not the first time that I've heard the City of Hemet needs to be more business friendly. Need a streamlined process of helping these businesses get started. Friend of mine opened up a funeral home here. He had a great experience opening that up. He said things went well. So I know we can do it. It's just we need to make it a more business friendly environment. Thank you.
With the new warehouses going in, I don't think that the city should be throwing all their money into one basket. We need to diversify ourselves. With the advances that we're having with AI, those 1,600 jobs are not going to be around in 5 years, 10 years, because everything's going to be automated. We have to diversify on the people that we're bringing into town. To do that, to get people more welcome into town, we have to clean it up. It is just dirty. That's going to attract better quality of businesses, people who want to invest their money in our town, who know that we have pride within ourselves and within our town and how it looks. We got to start there.
You know, in honor of Tom Lodge, straight talk. He, what I've noticed about the City of Hemet is we are heavily relied on sales tax. Our property tax is down because something around 57% of the people here are renters. That means that there's going to be a lack of ownership. So if we can promote a situation where we have more ownership, I believe that we will have that more respect and that pride. And so, yeah, that might mean streamlining. Everybody's talking about streamlining different things, but real talk, when you got these issues coming down from the state and these legislators are putting red tape on these businesses, then we then got to transfer all of that to these businesses and these people trying to open up stuff. Now we got to get creative. And so that's why a lot of times these things take a long time. Somebody tries to come in here and open up a business and they got to go through all this bureaucracy and red tape that's been passed down. And so one of the things that I thought would be good is that we focus on incubators. And so if we have these incubators, we may not necessarily have to give out grants or anything like that for people who want to start a business, but maybe that they come and open up their business in this little small incubator to see if their business will do well. And then now you have people who are not afraid to put a bunch of money up front, and then they know if they have a good business model, then they can go ahead and engage in a brick and mortar. But bringing more something other than sales tax, hospitality, and tourism.
So I echo some of the panelists' concerns regarding cleaning up the city, and this is similar to a question that was asked on June 13th when I applied for city council. I just rewatched the video today, and the biggest issue we have with attracting businesses, I feel, is we need to clean up our city. We need to start holding property owners responsible, commercial, industrial, residential, to clean up their properties. Nobody's gonna wanna come here if they're driving by and seeing broken windows on our main streets, or dying landscaping, or no pride of ownership like we were talking about. I brought that up before, and I will continue to bring that up, is it takes a village and we all need to work together, and it's holding people accountable. The next thing is business incentive programs. So if we can clean up the city, why don't we do some incentive programs to help these businesses come? Also, concerns with developing in the city. We do need to increase customer service and become business friendly, but for smart development. So there are certain areas that are more suitable for certain types of uses. So smart development is what I'm looking for when.
I have an answer. I really want to answer this one. Okay. All right. We are talking about businesses coming into our city. My concern is the businesses here. I've been a business owner, and I put in between $30,000 and $40,000 out of my own savings, and still had a leaking roof. And the issue is we need rent control. The business owners need their own association so we can make our complaints. I've signed a lease, fulfilled my lease, and still had issues where they said that I didn't pay. I received a $10,000 grant here and paid during COVID because all of my people walked out. I still worked in my salon, still provided services, and still paid that $10,000 and paid out of pocket. So the issue is not bringing other businesses here, it's being fair to the businesses that are already here. We have hundreds of churches that's not even zoned for permits. So they're sneaking in, starting storefront churches. Homelessness would be over overnight if we all come together and put our resources together. We can do that. We can have safe parking if these churches stop having their baptism ceremonies. Talk about what we can do for the people. I wish I could continue.
Thank you. Okay, can you hear me? Yeah. The next question. Yeah, next question. We're gonna start with Joe. This is on partnerships and collaboration. How will you work with neighboring cities, the county, and other stakeholders to address regional issues that impact Hemet?
We are already working with our neighbors. We just had the, hello? Okay, we're working with our neighbors already. We're working with San Jacinto, Arizona. Oh, we're working. No. I had to do that, I'm sorry. But we are working with our neighbors, and we are finally partnering with them on the issues with homelessness, issues with businesses, and we just had a forum just recently. I'm not sure if it was Monday, with the Cal cities, and they brought in the majority of the cities that are a part of the group, and we're working hard, just trying to get a handle on things. Right now, all cities are having problems. It's just not Hemet. All the cities are having problems. That's why we're partnering up now, because when you partner up with cities, the county seems to help you a lot more when you have cities that you're working with grants and trying to clean things up, and trying to, help with the homeless problem. And our problem right now is that we have LA bringing all their homeless to Riverside and San Bernardino, and it's just not our city, it's all cities. So the partnership that we're creating, or partnerships that we're creating, is to sustain us, and until we can get the problems resolved that we're having, with businesses closing down, with the economy, it's hard to do anything nowadays because time's up.
I remember back in '86 when I was in my senior year of high school, and that's when Hemet and San Jacinto decided we were going to be friends and we weren't going to fight each other anymore. We had a fun year that year, but we developed friendships, and I think that's what it takes. You have to develop friendships and partnerships with elected officials in different communities. I've been very blessed to work in the real estate legislative committee. And what we do is, as realtors, we want to go out there and promote property rights. And we'll attend these State of the Cities with different communities. We brought the breakfast with the city managers here, as you're aware. Sponsored that, actually. But by doing that, we're talking to city officials from different communities. I have relationships with people from Temecula, Murrieta right now, because of having that legislative committee through the Board of Realtors. And that's what it's going to take, is building those friendships and partnerships with different communities, and just bringing down the barriers so you can accomplish some goals regionally here. Thank you.
Throughout history, it has been shown that Anytime individuals come together, tribes, cities, groups, they form a stronger base. They have a more powerful base to get things accomplished. We've got to be together on things, including whatever city we can partner with, whatever we can do to get the county to notice that this is what we're doing and this is what our needs are. Doing it as an individual is much harder. You cannot climb the hill by yourself. It does go to the old saying, it does take a village. We need to partner. We need to have a firm, honest base with our other cities. That's the only way we're going to get things accomplished, is if we all work together.
I was thinking in terms of partnerships with Mount San Jacinto College, because a lot of times when you're trying to make these connections to bring business here, the respective businesses or corporations might say, well, we don't see enough bachelor's degrees or master's degrees in your city, which may be a deterrent. And so it's like partnering with spaces like MSJC to see if they can, the more instruction that they do there, they might even apply for the bachelor's level, and that'll increase that school like Cal Baptist did, because they started as a community college, and then now look at as far as they are. And so partnerships like that, I was thinking in terms of working as an entire community. So including the county, San Jacinto, and Hemet, we're somewhere around 250,000. And given all of the nonprofits and all of the businesses that are in that mental health space, it's like if we all work together and stop working in silos, I see too much pride here in the city. Nonprofits won't work together, churches won't work with the nonprofits, churches aren't working together, and so you see all this silo stuff, and that's why you see all this non-movement, because everybody's trying to get credit for something instead of all of us taking a leadership role and collaborating. If we stop working in silos, we'll see more movement. But until we don't stop seeing ourselves working in silos, then we'll just continue to see the status quo.
In my profession, we have to work on relationships with electeds, with developers, with stakeholders. It's something that I do every day. Being on city council, I've certainly been working with more of our electeds. In my profession, we currently are doing a collaboration with Mount San Jacinto and the County of Riverside Economic Development in my jurisdiction on a business hub. So I mean, it's something that I work on every day. I have been in this county and in Hemet for 25 years. So I've definitely worked on building those relationships again with property owners, developers, all the stakeholders. So yeah, it's something that I'm comfortable with.
My relationship with establishing a partnership, when I worked for the VA hospital, I had a collaboration relationship with the university. Here in Hemet, we need support. I cannot stress it enough. We need support. The churches need to come together and let's get rid of the homelessness. I had a business here and it didn't last 2 years. And what I tried to establish was salon suites. I had a huge grand opening, it rained that day, and the mayor of the city did not show up. I'm not trying to put anyone on blast, but we are hurting. But then we hear about we want other business to come to our city, but it starts at home first. We need to support each other. We need to support our local. I am the best in town when it comes down to hairstyling. I've owned 4 salons, 1 in Georgia. But you have owners, business owners that do not care about us, and they constantly increase rent where we can barely make it. During COVID and post-COVID, people are now, they're in their homes. You have young people doing nails out of their homes making big money. And the nail shops are struggling.
Thank you for your answer.
So if you were to talk with me, I would tell you I'm only as good as my team. For the years that I spent out in the field, I was only as good as my team. I was only as good as my other team members and the information that they had or the services that they were able to help me to connect with the community. Partnerships and collaborations are our foundation. We have to build our collaborations with the surrounding cities. I've asked, why is Hemet excluded? That's what I kept finding. Hemet was excluded from the table. And you have to call and say, hey, why aren't we there? How can I get there? Who can I send? And so our partnerships and collaborations are how we find out the ability and what we can do, the other options that we have to help beautify our city, to help tackle those issues that we have like homelessness. CBOs and faith-based organizations have different toolkits. They have different strengths and weaknesses, and so we have to bring them together in order to tackle those issues. And how do we do that? We have to get a seat at the table to have those discussions and bring each other together and collaborate in order to come up with solutions together, working side by side. And I've done that. I've been out there and I've said, how can I help you? How can I help you to help connect those services? How can I help you?
Thank you, Krista.
Thank you.
Thank you. Joe? This question revolves around infrastructure and transportation with respect. The question is, what are your priorities for improving the city's infrastructure, including roads, public transportation, and utilities? That's going to be a question for Norm to start.
Well, as we can see, Florida Avenue is quite the mess right now, but that's out of the city's hands. It's the state of California. But I think just having better communication with the public, just so we can address those concerns. You read all over Facebook, people complaining. They think it's the city's fault. It's not the city's fault. But we could just work better with our partners at the state of California, just doing the best we can. We know the roads need it, and it will get done. Now, the other streets, yes, there's River knocking on some doors and met a gentleman that 25 years or he's been living in this community, and his streets have still not been redone. They're deteriorating, and almost would be best just to pull it up. But we just need to reach out to the community, figure out where our problems areas are, and see how we can do that. I know I've had many conversations with the city manager about preserving the streets that we do have. Which one do we do? Do we start on an old street, pull that up, or do we protect the streets that we've already had redone? Just trying to put our money to the best use here. And infrastructure, yes, I wish I knew a little bit more of the details of it as far as utilities are concerned, but from the reports I hear, we have some crumbling infrastructure. Thank you.
It seems like every time it rains, we have city workers out there filling in potholes everywhere. Some of these streets are very old, very crumbly. We can only do so much with the amount of money we have. But we have to prioritize our major thoroughfares, our major residential streets, and what has to be done to keep them safe. All these people running around, all these youngsters running around on those electric bikes and whatnot. I've seen a couple of them hit a pothole and just lose it. And they're not wearing a helmet either. So, and that's scary. Like we've said, there's nothing we can really do about Florida Avenue except for from Santa Fe west. And that's in very good repair at the moment. The infrastructure, we have some buildings that need some TLC. They don't need to be gutted. They don't need to be rebuilt. They just need some good loving on the side. I know there's a fire station that needs some help. And there's a couple other buildings. The facade program, I think is a very good idea. As far as the utilities, we can only pray on those.
Currently, we have about 360 plus miles of road in the city of Hemet. And when you're talking about a road that's rated at D or F level, I don't know what it's called, but you're talking about $1.2 million a mile to repave that. And then the next level up is you're talking about 900,000 a mile. And then when you're talking about the slurry seals, where it looks like they just put like a black paint over it, that's like 250,000 a mile. Gas tax, a couple other taxes, we get maybe 5 million a year. I mean, if we have 360, so what I'm thinking is, how do I plan long term, or how do I collaborate with to other types of infrastructure grants where we will tear up a road to replace a pipe using like water money or something like that, in a way that the street gets repaved. But like even state of California has put regulations on that, so you can't even really kind of be strategic with that way, but just a little bit, right? So if I can get half of the street paved from water dollars or other infrastructure dollars, then I can maybe cut the cost in half or something like that. So maybe coming up with a plan like that. But right now, we at a minimum, we need 360 million to repave all the streets. And we have to we have to plan that over 7 years. And I don't know realistically right now if I would be alive by the time we come up with 300, if on an $80 million budget.
Thank you, Malcolm.
So the city has done deferred maintenance on these roads, so I think that the first thing we need to do is get in a cycle of where we're starting to regularly maintain our roads. And one of the things that is done is the pavement improvement program that goes around and rates all the streets and what condition they're in. And again, as some of the other panelists mentioned, if they're at a certain level, it's more effective to kind of save the streets that are in better condition. So again, it's trying to prioritize the streets, improving on our capital improvement program that identify those streets. We also, there are so many grants out there. WRCOG, the Western Regional County Council of Government, sorry, I'm nervous. They send out a list of available grants every month. There is so much money out there that we could go after. I would encourage every city to go after money, especially for infrastructure, and there is a lot out there. As far as utilities, so when developments come in, they should be required to underground their utilities. I think this is typical. For our infrastructure, our aging infrastructure, which is our sewer and water, I'm just watching your hand. I just like focus, but
We need to establish apprenticeship programs for our youth. People who want to go to work. We can start programs for our homeless. They can pay the roads. We don't have to pay $1 million. We can just get the homeless off the streets and give them a job. You know, we keep complaining about what we need, but we have our resources right here. We need to use our people. This is why I'm running, because I have a voice for our people. Business owners need to be held accountable for paying these utility bills. It shouldn't be a reason that I have to go in and pay $2,000 just to have a gas tank put up at my business. You guys don't realize these business owners, they are struggling and they're leaving and going to other cities. So we are not user-friendly to our own people. So we need to establish our own partnership, come together, and make it happen.
How many of you are commuters? I'm a commuter. I drive out of this city every day. I fight the trucks. I fight the other commuters just trying to get to work on time every day. What do you think these warehouses are gonna do to our infrastructure? No community benefit. The developments that come in have to be responsible for the utilities, for undergrounding, like Carol said. The industrial warehouses that are coming in have to be responsible for our infrastructure. They're tearing up our streets. What do trucks do? They're too heavy. They're too heavy for our streets. Like Malcolm said with our level of service, we're at D and F. We fail as far as our infrastructure. Developers can't develop their projects because we don't have the actual sewer and infrastructure in order to have proper drainage on their property. So they are responsible for paying for that. We need to look at our budget, make sure we're prioritizing these areas. So then that way we can be business friendly. So then that way we can be friendly to our commuters until we can invest within our city to provide business and jobs here.
We are working on our infrastructure. Our infrastructure hasn't been worked on for decades. It's gone 30 years, maybe even 40 years without roads being worked on. Oh, okay. But we are working on it. Thank God for grants for our Measure A that gives us money to work on our streets. And we had a company come in with trucks, and they have some type of a device, that x-rays the streets or checks the streets, and they gave us an analysis on what streets were bad, which ones we should work on, and the ones that were worse, they said, well, you need to let them go, because like Malcolm mentioned, $1.2 million a mile for the worst streets. And so we started working on streets that were bad, but not bad, so it only cost us anywhere from $500,000 to $900,000 to work on. But we have a plan, we have a game plan, and if you would have been at the city council just a couple councils ago, and we laid out the plan for our infrastructure, a 4-year plan, I believe, and we're spending anywhere from $2 to $4 million each year on just 1 mile here, 2 miles here, 3 miles, but we are working on it. A lot of people think that it's easy when you come into council, oh, we're going to do this, this, and this, but it's not easy, because you need the money. You need the funds to be able to get the jobs done, and when you don't have the funds, you don't have the vote, jobs can't get done.
Oh, sorry. My apologies. Next question, we'll start with you, Todd, on community engagement. How will you ensure that the voices of all Hemet residents are heard and considered in the city decision-making process?
At this point, I believe that we are not being heard, and there are groups that are out there that don't have a voice at all. We have to have a series of meetings on every subject that suits this city. There are, like I said, groups out there that are not being heard, but if we have not only open forums, just like tonight, anybody who wants to speak, come speak. Anybody has a problem, we come and discuss it as a community. We've got to get that village mentality back. We have to be here for each other. Some groups are not going to be liked. Some groups are going to be loved. That's the way it is. But everybody should be heard. And there's no reason for it not to be heard by everybody, and invite open forums.
I completely agree with Tom. On my journey here on City Council, 2022, I was serving as the mayor at the time, and I did a series of town halls where we were letting the public know in certain areas. We met in Four Seasons, Seven Hills, a couple of the churches on Sanderson, different HOAs. I'm thinking over there by West Valley, the one at the end, I think it's called Solera. We were talking about these 6.1 square feet million of warehouses that are coming in, and it was always breaking my heart because it would be like 20, 15 people showing up to these things. And we would run a running ad on Facebook. We would do all kinds of things to kind of get the word out, post it on Hemet I News, and it gets 7 likes. It's almost like, do I have to lie and say, oh, homeless person kills a person just to get someone to see the post? Because anytime we put something good out about Hemet, it gets 6 likes. But let them talk about Florida Street, and it's 128 likes and shares and all these different things. And so going out, and I'm gonna just continue to try to encourage the council to go out and have these forums like this, like we were doing, because we would set up just like this, and the community would come, and then we would try to share all the information, the new businesses coming out, why the streets are taking so long to get done, why this isn't happening. And I'll just continue to do it, but
Thank you, Malcolm.
it's heartbreaking not to see people show up.
It starts with you. The city council works for you. Come to our meetings, speak on the item, on any issue. You have 3 minutes. And then reach out to your council member, your district or someone else. I get calls from other districts, residents, and collaborating both with getting your comments out in front of the city council and connecting with your city council member that represents your district is key. Their information, their contact information is all on the city's website, and they should be communicating with you. Like I said, I return my phone calls. I meet with people. I have a full-time job, but I return all my phone calls, and I will meet with anybody. But it starts with you. You have to bring it to the public's attention, and you have to reach out to your council members. You put them there.
Speaking of warehouses, right over near Kirby, now I'm seeing flea mices. I live directly across the street, and I feel like it's impacting my health and my daughter's health. I'm a homeowner here. And again, we need support. I cannot stress it enough. All these abandoned buildings, we're building warehouses, but what about all these abandoned buildings on Florida? Why can't we hold the business owners or the owners of those buildings accountable? Make them pay, increase their tax dollars, increase their taxes. And then we can collaborate a little bit more and have things done. We're talking about what we need, but we're looking at something that is not beautiful in our city. All these abandoned buildings, turn them into skill centers. We have homeless who are dealing with mental illness. We have people who are struggling and can barely pay for health insurance. Open up these buildings. We're getting ready to lose our Hemet courthouse to Menifee. Let's turn that into a shelter. Why we do not have a rescue mission here? Then our city will start looking beautiful. We can get the homeless people off the streets. It would be an embarrassment that I have a beautiful place that they're asking $5,000 for a month.
Thank you, Deb.
So I felt the same way. I felt as though we were missing the opportunity to connect. And so I called the supervisor's office and I asked them, when you have your municipal advisory council meetings, why isn't Hemet included? Where is our forum in which to speak? Where's our forum in which for our voices to be heard? And so there is the ability to have town hall meetings, and it is directed from your city council. You let the city council know that you want town hall meetings. But they can also provide the opportunity for you to have a meeting when there's a major project that is coming in. That is their responsibility as well. There is also a public information officer through the police department. We can use them. We can use them to disseminate information. We have social media, we have Zoom, we can be hybrid. Everyone does not have to be present. There's ways to connect with your community. You can walk around and just talk about what's happening. and connect with the residents in your district. Just because there's not 20 people in a room doesn't mean that two can't have a discussion about issues that are happening in our city. We still have to provide the opportunity in the forum for that. And then once you hear what their concerns and their issues are, your responsibility as a council member is to vote and be the voice for your constituency. But how do you know
Thank
how
you,
they
Krista.
feel if you're not connecting with them?
We have council meetings twice a month, and I would say 5 of the people here are usually at the council meetings all the time. And people don't actually go to the council meetings until there's something that they really want to complain about, warehouses, for example. And we have meetings prior to that to talk about warehouses, but they're not there. And then once they're agreed on and approved, then we get the people in to complain about it. We have voices. We do things. We have grants out there for businesses. We have a lot of things that we're working on in our city that the grant process, the helping businesses out. We have a grant for anyone that gets broken into to help them for $7,500 to help fix broken doors, broken windows. We work with our businesses. We have, like I said, the new economic committee manager, and he's out there a lot. He's talking to businesses. He works a lot with the chamber, and the chamber's communication with them all the time. So there's changes that's happening, but you have to want to be a part of it. You have to want to come to these meetings and listen to what's going on. Anthony right there sitting down, he had a problem. He came to me and wanted to talk to me. Let's talk. And we've been working together for the last, 3 months? So we're there for you. You just have to come and talk to us. You have to be present and not come just when the problems occur and you want to complain about something.
In real estate, I've gone through many sales meetings and trainings, and one thing that they say is you have to be approachable. You want more business, you have to be approachable. And one thing that I see in this community, I've seen Joe, I've seen Malcolm, I've seen Jackie, and Linda Krupa. Bumped into her at Eagles. I'm a member of Eagles. She's a member of Eagles. Elks, I bumped into Joe at Elks Club, and also Linda Krupa. I can't tell you how many committee meetings I've had in the last couple of weeks, but I'm on quite a few different committees, board of directors. But I think, it's true, like Malcolm says, the community needs to get to the council meeting. I've been to those council meetings. I've shaken everybody's hands and talked to them and said, good job at the end of the night. A lot of times I just go there to listen and then just try to build relationships. But I think that's what it's about. It's not just stopping at the council meeting. You got to get out in the community. You got to make yourself approachable, and you've got to go to these mixers and chamber events and everything, because you've got the citizens are going to hold you accountable. But if you're not available for them to come up to you to say, hey, this is what's wrong with the city, then what are you actually doing for the city? So you've got to make yourself approachable. Get out in the community so you could talk to your friends out there and meet new people in the community. Find out what the problems the community is facing.
Thank you, Nora. Thank you. Shifting this conversation to youth and education, for Malcolm Lilienthal, you will start. How do you plan to support youth programs and educational initiatives in Hemet to provide better opportunities for the next generation?
So what I've done recently is I created this program called the Mayor Mentees Program, and it was an opportunity for me to engage with youth in our Hemet Unified School District so they can learn about government and more specifically how our city works. So they get a chance to talk with all the department heads, or if the department heads aren't available, they send someone else that can talk with them. And so they get to see how the police department works, fire department, and the rest of our departments. And then since then we've collaborated with the Unified School District, Hemet Unified School District with Alessandro High. They have a pathway program to become first responders. We now have I don't know what it's called, but it's like this thing for girls where the girls can have a pathway to understand what it's like to be a firefighter. And so I'm gonna just continue to work with the youth. I am the commander of the Sons of the American Legion, and I'm working on a program right now to help the kids learn about the Constitution, Bill of Rights, different things like that. And so I'm engaged with the youth every Tuesday, 2 to 4, every week with these mayor mentees, and then even outside of that, because they contact me outside of that. And so, just more programs like that, streamlining to help engage and kids to know that, you could work for the municipality, or you could do other things that are in the trades and stuff like that.
So I agree with Malcolm. The Mayor Mentee program is amazing, and trying to get youth engaged in civic studies and how government works is so refreshing. We don't see a lot of young people coming into government. I think it's extremely important. It's also partnering with the Hemet Unified School District in ways that we can engage our youth, like Principal for a Day is, they open this up to several electeds and community members, and you get to go walk with the principal, and you get to talk with these students, engage with them, and they're amazing. These children, and it gives me hope for the future. There are, like I said, the fire department, as Malcolm mentioned, they do have this camp for young women and girls that helps them train to be firefighters. We also have a young cadet program that is helping young men and young boys to participate in programs that help better the city, including, cleaning up or doing weed abatement or cleaning up the city, but also partnering them with paramedics or other organizations that can help train them for a future in government activities. So again, it's making these partnerships
I was thinking about all the different clubs that we currently have in the high schools. I'm part of the Christian Club. You have Link Crew. You have so many organizations, but it stops at 3:30. Our community needs to lift the restrictions and allow these clubs to run after school. I believe we only have one youth center here. And so we already have our resources, but we need to bring it into our community. A lot of these churches cannot open because of the zoning requirements. It's between $6,000 to $20,000 if it gets permitted to open up. But if we lift some of these restrictions where they can come in and provide resources, then we can get these gangs off the streets.
So I came out of those neighborhood programs, like the Explorer program, the Cadet program. We have some award-winning youth programs here. And what those programs did for me is it allowed me to go out of the city and connect and see a major university where I ended up graduating from. So we need to make these types of programs where we can connect the youth and bring them out of the city and allow them to see what else and what opportunities they have out there. We can do that in summer programs. We need Boys and Girls Club. We need a Salvation Army. I went to all of those, and that has made me who I am today. We need to not only just focus from the younger youth, but we have a population 21 to 25 to, and then we have like 25 to 35. We have no programs for them. We can specifically and connect them with MSJC and provide pathways into recruitment programs for our fire, our police. That is a population that we're missing. They're youth too. And we need to have services and provide connections for them. I am a product of that. And I believe that being able to have those types of programs and have them available and to get them out of the city, to see what else is out there, how they can connect, and then bring that education back to the city and reinvest it here. That's what I did. And so I feel as though we need to make that connection. We need to attract a Boys and Girls Club. We need to attract a center for our youth to go
Thank you,
to.
Krista.
Mark,
That's all right. We'll share.
sorry. Our police and fire do have some great youth programs, and we see them all the time at work, and it's great what they do with the youth of Hemet. And we also have, like My City Youth, we have like the American Legion, for example. I was the commander there 4.5 years. We had Boys State. We would go every year to every high school and get 2 to 3 kids from each school, and then we test them, and we the Boys State was where they worked at our local Legion, and then went out to San Francisco to learn about how government worked. And so we had some pretty good youth that came back and they won. They came back to first place, second place, whatever. But that was a good youth program. We also have other the Hawks football that started. They needed sponsorship. We sponsored them. Brubaker Park, we just fixed Brubaker Park's baseball field because we want to bring baseball back to Hemet, youth baseball. So that's working. So there's a lot of things that we've worked on in the past and on the future, and just to get our kids active. And again, with the skate park that we had built with Airtopia that's out there, that's good for them to go to. So we're doing everything we can for the youth, and we're working with them, making sure they have a place to go instead of being on the streets.
You mentioned Brubaker Park. Well, I worked for Roger Brubaker. He was a community activist here. He started the Association of Realtors, so brings back some memories. Anyway, I bumped into the city manager and the attorney, so kind of made a joke. I was wearing a Hemet shirt, and he goes, "Did you get that from the baseball?" I goes, "No, the soccer. The soccer, my grandkids are 10 to 12 now. They're on soccer teams. But basically, I gave kudos to the city manager and said, "Hey, great, you're going to put a soccer, or you're working on a soccer field." But I joked with him. I said, "That's one thing I'm going to do in my first term. I'm going to make sure that we have a state-of-the-art soccer field." So I wanted to get that off my chest. But anyway, my grandkids are they wanted to play golf, and then 5 minutes later, they want to go fishing at the lake. And then the next thing, they want to go play soccer, and then baseball, and then football. And I'd say, the Ramona Ball. Sports is not the only thing kids should be active in. We have Rock Indians Theater, the Hemet Theater here. They're putting a youth something for the youth as well. But bottom line, we just need to have all of these available. I want to give kudos to our church too. My wife was just talking to a friend of hers about he's going to be going to Hemet High for mine a while, and how do you get connected? He's going to be afraid to go from one school to another. Well, there's a youth group that he can be involved in and get some friends. But we need a community.
Thank you, Norm.
Yes, thank you.
There's wonderful programs out there for the kids in high school and for the younger ones. The cadet program, pathway program. There should be a civic program just to see how the city government works. There should also be a program to get what I call the lost generation, the 19 to 30-year-olds who just don't seem to have any direction at all. Okay, you can play a video game, but how can you turn that into the real world? Show them at Mount San Jacinto College, get programs going for those kids at a discounted rate, even though their prices are reasonable, at a discounted rate to attract them with like-minded kids. The future is those kids. They have to know the computers. I'm an idiot when it comes to them, but nowadays you have to look towards what's going to be happening in 20 years? What's going to be happening in 15 years? Now, how do we educate our kids to be able to deal with that in the real world? It can't be all, I'm going to go work at the car wash, or I'm going to go work at, Trader Joe's or whatever. You have to have them career-minded, and that's hard to do when they're that age. They don't look towards the future, they just look towards, okay, tomorrow, I gotta go to work. They're not looking for saving the money. They're not looking for furthering their career. And when they leave town,
Thank you. You guys are getting good at this. Our next question is budget management. Given the limited financial resources, what are your top budget priorities and how will you ensure fiscal responsibility? And Carol, we're gonna start with you.
Well, one of the things that I do is I read all the warrant registers. I'm constantly staying on top of that. And I do read the budget. I've prepared budgets. It is trying to make sure that we are accommodating for all the resources that we need while being able to provide services. I think that it's being a good, fiscally responsible in what we're doing. So again, you know, we need to improve our streets, but you know, there's other programs out there. So it's trying to prioritize what needs to be done in the city, and what resources we need fiscally. It's trying to go after grants and doing collaborations with the County of Riverside that has been very generous with providing funding for a lot of things, like including some remodeling at Fire Station 1 and providing for the cadet program. It's paying attention. But I really think that everybody needs to look at our budget and take a peek at it and get involved and ask questions. That's the only way that you're gonna keep the city council accountable. Like I said, the warrant registers are my first time. I think I had so many comments on it. So I encourage you, please pay attention to that. But again, it's selecting the priorities and making sure we have the resources.
I agree, priorities is a major factor to the budget. Our first priority should be our public safety. How are we allocating this money out? Making sure that we have enough police officers to keep our streets safety. Look at all these fires that we're having. We don't have enough manpower for it. So we are talking about other things. We have empty buildings, but we need to prioritize our budget and make sure that our public safety is perfect to our justification of making sure that our needs are met. And then once those are taken care of, then we can go down the list and start taking care of other things. Yes, potholes are important, but we need our safety. You know, we need our safety. You know, we don't have enough cops